Hey everybody, Pastor Zach here. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today as we engage in this time of community, this time of connection, this time of support, and this time of just sharing. So I invite you to share your questions, your comments, your smart remarks as we move on this time today. One of the things I want to talk about today is purpose. I was struck by this comment that we used on Sunday from another religious leader that says God created you with a purpose, for a purpose, on purpose. And I think that really strikes me because it reminds us just how connected we are. It reminds us how we are engaged, and that our life has meaning. Our life matters. Our life has purpose. When we struggle, when we have difficulties, when we just are uncertain about so much in our lives or so much going on in the world, that we were created for a purpose, with a purpose. That God, who created everything, said, you know what? I need one of you. I need one of you in the world. We may not understand it. We may not get it. We may struggle with it. We may fight against it. We may be uncertain of why we're going through all of this junk that we may be going through it in our lives. And I get that. I get there are times when we struggle, when there's so much going on in our lives that we just don't understand. We don't know why those who are evil seem to be doing better, and when we struggle to get through. And yet, we have this opportunity to recognize that it's not about other people, it's about us. And it's about how do we respond to some of that? How do we engage one another? How do we live into this community, this connection, this opportunity? There's a passage in Romans that says that, God can use all things for good. And I look at that, and I look at how we may view that. When things are going well, that's not hard to view. That's not hard to get. But when we are struggling, when we can't see the outcome, when we feel just beaten down, how do we feel that God can use that? How do we trust that God is active in all of the junk and all of that heaviness? When it's hard to be close to a God, or to accept that, God would do this. Why would God do this? I've had people ask me, why would God do this to this person? Why would God do this to us? So my answer to that is God uses us for a purpose. Now, I also don't believe that everything that happens to us is on God. I don't believe that, God made me stub my toe or bang my knuckle or, lose my hair. That's genetics. The white hair is genetics. And so there are rules, there are laws of the world that God put into place that happen. Gravity that keeps us grounded. Thankfully. And so, there are those things that we go through. Unfortunately, cancer is a reality of life. I don't believe that God says, oh, I'm going to give cancer to this person. But I believe that God is there with them and their families going through it, aching, seeing the suffering, and rejoicing when there's remission, and weeping when there's worse outcomes. I believe in a God who believes in relationship, who sees the world that is active and that is going on and still is in relationship, still is hopeful, still is engaged, still is wanting to be connected. And we have an opportunity to see that is a God who is nearby, a God who created us for purpose. I believe we all have different purposes. We all have hopes. We all have dreams. We all have opportunities. We all have different ways that we see the world. And yet in that diversity, we are able to engage and be strengthened by one another, with one another, for the world. Jesus reminds us of this over and over again. And even in those hard moments, those hard words and languages, and that's one of the things we're going to be talking about next Sunday, Jesus is still engaged in the world. So here we are, engaged in the world together, because God created us with purpose, for a purpose, on purpose. Morning joy. And we are able to, even in those challenging times, to see it and to recognize it and to be uplifted by it. So I invite you, if you know your purpose or think you do, I invite you to share it. If you're struggling to find that purpose and need some assistance, reach out. We're here to support you. We are all in this together. And we, with purpose, get to live our faith together. Hope you guys have a great day wherever you are, wherever this finds you. I invite you to share it with others so that we can broaden and strengthen this community that we are growing as we live into this promise. Take care, everybody. God bless. Have a great week.